Hi folks, I hope you are doing well. I am Dr. Mohsen. This is my second lecture about the history of English literature, literary ages. We are going to discuss and apprehend about the Renaissance period. Please, if you don't subscribe my channel, do subscribe it, hit the bell, you will never miss an update. As I mentioned in my first lecture, the Renaissance period is roughly composited 300 years in Europe. But it is literally from 1580 to 1660. It is also subdivided into four shorter ages: the Elizabethan age, the Jacobean age, Caroline age, War, and Commonwealth. So my lecture about the Renaissance period falls into two distinct parts. The first part is about the Elizabethan age and Jacobean age, and second part is about Caroline age, War, and Commonwealth, will be discussed later. So, what's the meaning of Renaissance? Renaissance is a French word. Renascimiento means in English born again or rebirth. And rebirth of what? As a matter of fact, Renaissance is rebirth of some pretty important idea that had disappeared for a long time. What kind of ideas? It's a revival of ancient learning, Greek, Roman, Plato, Aristotle, and the texts of those great writers. As you can see here, Renaissance literally means regeneration, revival, and rejuvenation. It's an era that marked by supplementary terms such as rebirth and revival, as I mentioned, was replaced by a description called early modernism. So, the Renaissance promoted the rediscovery of classical philosophy, literature, and art and science. I said art and science. The Renaissance period was also an explosion of art and science. Renaissance thinkers sought to revitalize their culture through re-emphasizing classical texts, as you can see here, and creating their own style of art, philosophy, and scientific inquiry. Renaissance art was characterized by realism and naturalism. I said realism and naturalism. Well, the artists were now able to create more lifelike forms with an atmospheric depth that was enhanced by through their observation and understanding the natural light and shade, as well as naturalism, which became one of the major trends of period, combined with realism led to impressionism and modern art. So, art and science. So, who was the founder of scientific movement in Renaissance period? Francis Bacon was the founder of scientific movement, who was called natural philosophers and the father of English essays. One of the significant devices which encouraged the literature of the Renaissance period was an arrival of printing press by Gutenberg. Gutenberg distributed, books, manuscripts, and particularly to the common people. It was a bunch of manuscripts from ancient Greece and Rome, mass printing press shared through the university and the libraries. And it helped standardization of English language. Standardization of English language was another important side effect of printing press, because in that time people had serious problem about pronunciation. For example, the word Shakespeare was pronounced Shakespeare or Shakespeare. Another important fact of the Renaissance period was Protestant Reformation by Martin Luther. Martin Luther was, one of the most significant figure in Christian history, whose belief and ideas, helped birth Reformation, which gave rise Protestantism. Protestant Reformation not only questioned about science, but also began to question about the foundation and belief and revolutionary of fight against the idea and rules of church. It is explicitly plausible that the Renaissance period is a period of is a period of exploration. So this time period is also a time of great exploration across Europe. People's idea about life was totally changed. It was the radical change about life. After presenting a general information about the Renaissance period, we come to the Elizabethan age. The timeline in that period is from 1558 to 1603. The Elizabethan age is called the Golden Age of English literature because it was a time of immense progress, stability, and national pride. Religious settlement happened in the Elizabethan age in order to end the religious turmoil. With an accession of Queen Elizabeth I, when she understood the problem between Protestants and the Papists or Catholic. Protestants were those who, against Pope were called Protestants, like Martin Luther from Germany, or Zwingli and Calvin from Switzerland. And those who still supported Pope were called Papists or Catholic. When Queen Elizabeth I understood the problem, she introduced Anglicanism as an England-owned church and restored peace and harmony, and all the dynastic problems and political troubles came to an end. And finally, religious settlement and social stability brought about national prosperity. The religious reformation inspired the religious tolerance. Queen Elizabeth I was the source of all inspiration for all the writers. The Elizabethan age was the time of flourishment about drama. Drama flourished in the Elizabethan age. During Elizabethan age, tragedy and comedy developed. The Renaissance gave rise, to a growing interest in man as presented in classical Greek and Latin and drama, which had examples of both comedy and tragedy. So the most famous dramatists of the Elizabethan age were Christopher Marlowe, Thomas Keats, and William Shakespeare, who is considered as the greater dramatist and poet among others, as well as Ben Jonson, who is regarded as the second important English dramatist after William Shakespeare. The popular and famous poet of the Elizabethan age were Edmund Spenser, who is considered and called poet of poets, and Sir Philip Sidney, John Nicholas Udell, who was written the first English comedy, Ralph Roister and Doister in 1553. After presenting a general information about the Elizabethan age, I would like to present important facts of an Elizabethan period. Elizabethan age is the uprise of humanism, because they believed that church should only rule spiritual, not civic or scientific matter. Renaissance that had started earlier was now very strongly felt in England. Erasmus came to England. Who Erasmus is was Dutch humanist, who is considered one of the greatest scholars of the Northern Renaissance, with his friend John Colet, theologian, who as one of the chief Tudor humanists promoted Renaissance culture in England, taught humanism and other ideals of Renaissance. The Elizabethan age is, was also geographical and astronomical discoveries of the previous decades brought unlimited fortune during this period. Many motives promoted the age of exploration and social life, curiosity bred of Renaissance spread of the inquiry led men to set forth voyages of discovery. Another important fact of the Elizabethan age was social life. It was a radical change about the social life. The social life of England was marked with a strong national spread, humanism, liberal religious views, scientific curiosity, scientific social content, intellectual progress, as well as unlimited enthusiasm. The main literary features of the Elizabethan age. Elizabethan literature reflected a great variety of creative genius. It demonstrated experimentation and innovation in poetic forms as well as the techniques. It was also developed English language to a level of stable standard and reflected original romanticism and initiated literary criticism. And likewise, Elizabethan literature was deeply influenced by Renaissance spread. In style, it exhibits, romantic exuberance or jubilance. The writers of the Elizabethan age were all men, not women, from all classes from the society. Poetry, drama, and prose in the Elizabethan age. It was an age of exquisite poetry, like The Fairy Queen by Edmund Spenser, and which was written to honor Queen Elizabeth I, unparalleled drama, especially to the plays of Shakespeare, and splendid prose. I would like to add some information about poetry, drama, and prose. The Elizabethan age saw the flowering of poetry, the sonnet, the Spenserian stanza, and the dramatic blank verse. You know, the Spenserian stanza is a fixed verse formed by Edmund Spenser for his epic poem, The Fairy Queen. Furthermore, was the golden age of drama, especially for the plays of Shakespeare, and inspired a wide variety of splendid prose from historian Chronicles version of holy scriptures, pamphlets, and literary criticism, as I mentioned above. I have outlined the main literary features, important facts, and general information about the Elizabethan age. We come to the Jacobean age. Jacobean, the timeline in that period is from 1603 to 1625. You know, King James, as you can see here, was the first Stuart king. The royal family was, which was ruling Scotland and Britain, was earlier of the King of Scotland. And Tudor dynasty came to an end with the reign of Queen Elizabeth. Gunpowder treason was a very important event that happened during the Jacobean age. Was a plot of conspiracy by a small group of Catholics. I explained who were Catholics, and to murder King James I and restore Catholicism. Guy Fawkes was the main conspirator in gunpowder treason. A very important fact which influenced the literature of that period. Colonial territories were expanded, and religious conflict that subsided in the Elizabethan age revived in this period. I mean, the Jacobean period. Protestants were divided into three sects: Anglicans, Presbyterians, and Puritans. And the Renaissance influence continued in that period. And Scotland was brought under the rule of King of England. The main literary features of the Jacobean age, the elegance and felicity of Elizabethan verse disappeared. The Platonic idealism, which had been the main spread of Elizabethan era, almost died out. Renaissance spread still remained the main influence, and the state of drama, poetry, and art. Drama continued to dominate the literary scene, and the state of poetry took a new and startling and astonishing turn. The decadence of art began. English language developed further, and it was a time that satiric art began. And the last one, mask was innovated. So that's it from my side for this lecture about the Elizabethan age and Jacobean age. Caroline Age War and Commonwealth right after this video will be my forthcoming lecture. Keep loving literature and follow my channel. Thank you.